Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the 90's Guy channel. I'm your host, Dr. Nick. Uh, I haven't really done too many videos for a little bit, and I haven't done a live video for a while. So I thought I'd come on here and just kind of talk with you guys. As you can see, I'm in the wrestling cave slash fortress of solitude, I guess you could say. Got my flavored water. I don't really care for water unless it's like really hot outside and I've been outside working. I'll drink regular water, but the majority of the time I drink flavored water. So let's talk today. 23 years ago, Twisted Metal debuted on the original PlayStation. That's crazy. 23 years ago. I remember getting my original PlayStation at a Meijer about 45 minutes away from me. I went in there with my mom and dad, and I hadn't had a new game system since the Super Nintendo because I did not transfer over to the 64. I was still playing Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo games, and Genesis, of course. So I kept seeing, commercials for the PlayStation. A couple of my friends had the PlayStation. Um, Two or three of my friends had the Nintendo 64, and I don't know why, but I even at that time I knew that the PlayStation's graphics and game library was much larger at the time. So I got the PlayStation. The first games that I had, well, I rented anyway, was Rampage, Twisted Metal. I'm trying to think of some other ones that I got. Siphon Filter. There was a bunch. How are you doing? Oh, I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. How are you? I just kind of hanging out in the wrestling room and reminiscing about the 90's like I always do. Um, so when you look back on your gaming memories, like I still have pretty much all my original PlayStation games, plus more that I've picked up at thrift stores. Um, it's one of those things where unless like the kids nowadays will look at a PlayStation game and they'll be like, "Wow, these graphics are horrible and boxy and pixelated." To us, it was awesome. Tomb Raider, like I said, Siphon Filter, Metal Gear Solid, um, was Wave Race on there? I know Hydro Thunder was on there. There was the WWF wrestling games, Attitude, Warzone. Um, of course, you also had the Crash Bandicoot series, Spyro, and with the PlayStation Mini coming out, um, up until this point, PlayStation One games were starting to rise. So I'm not really sure what this PlayStation Mini is going to do to the price of a lot of these things. I don't know if it's going to just keep them at the same, make it go, a little bit lower, kind of like with the NES and the SNES classics that come out. The prices dipped a little bit. I mean, I have both of those systems. Personally, I would rather have the physical copies. As long as I'm not paying like $100 something for Earthbound, but But anyways, I saw the case at my local video store, and it had an ice cream truck with a demented, scary clown on the front of it. It said Twisted Metal. So I read the back of it, and I got the premise of basically you were all these different types of vehicles and had weapons and had to destroy each other to win a contest. And it looked awesome. So I got it, brought it home, played the hell out of it, ended up buying it at my local Toys R Us and the local KB Toys that was near us as well. Used to rent a lot of PlayStation games at the local video store. We had two of them. Actually, we had three. We had Hollywood Video, we had Blockbuster, and then we had a little mom and pop place called Old Town Video. We had two locations of those. And then actually we had four. We had one called Westville Video, which was more of the NES days, if I recall. You used to go in there and they gave you free popcorn and, of course, these were the days of they only had one copy of everything. Later on, we got spoiled by Blockbuster because Blockbuster would have multiple copies of multiple games, and then once the hype kind of died down, they'd sell them off as previously viewed for a cheaper price. And by doing that, they cleared out their inventory, and I picked up a lot of really good, slightly used movies and games over the years doing it that way. Unfortunately, rest in peace, Blockbuster, no longer. Now, in order to get games, GameStop, Amazon, download them directly from Xbox Live, PlayStation Store, things like that. But still don't get you still have them in stores, but it's just not the same. Especially the only rental stores available now are Family Video, which I don't really know how in the world, and they keep expanding. I don't understand how in the world Family Video still survives in 2018 with things like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Redbox, all the direct content that you can just get it streamed right to your TV or tablet or whatever device. It's amazing. But yeah, I haven't got it yet, but a friend of mine, there's two systems I never had growing up, but I've always wanted to have. I had them before. I sold them. I don't know why I did. I was stupid for doing it. But a friend of mine has a Sega Dreamcast and a Sega Saturn. Both of these systems I've never really played, other than, like, of course, the Crazy Taxi on the Dreamcast, Nights into Dreams on the Saturn. But I've always wanted to, kind of check both of those systems out more and play some of the game library. Luckily, both of those systems have not jumped up in price a whole lot as opposed to the Super Nintendo and the 64. My friend of mine has both of those systems. Hey, what's going on? So pretty soon I'll be working on some more 90s related content. Not yet, obviously, because it's only November. But I'm also working on some Christmas videos. This is a cool ass room. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Believe me, I've been a collector for, gosh, over 20 years. And this is just the wrestling room. Next door in the other room is more stuff. And then I have non-wrestling memorabilia and toys in the hallway and in the living room. He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Batman, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, things like that. And then, of course, in the other side of the living room, I also have like my video game systems and games and things like that. And I don't know if you guys have checked out my podcast. It's called Slamcast on the FNX network. And I go on there and I talk about 90s stuff, vintage things, professional wrestling, and, things like that. But I never thought that I would reach 614 subscribers. When I created this YouTube channel a long time ago, I just did it for fun, and that's pretty much what I do now. I do it for fun. It's not something I did to make money, get famous, things like that. I just it's a way to talk to the world, share your interest, things like that, and I'm sure all of us at some point have been made fun of for our interest, whether it's wrestling figures, comics, video games. If you're a fan of anime, certain types of music, sometime or another, some inconsiderate person has made fun of you, called you a loser, things like that. And I dealt with that in high school where people would be like, "How do you like that fake wrestling stuff? It's not real. Grow up." And even now, occasionally you'll get people who kind of look down on the whole collecting hobby of just anything. And me personally, I don't let it bother me anymore. Um, it's one of those things where obviously if they feel the need to take time out of their day and you know bullshit with you, they must be having some serious problems in their life. So I just let it, I brush it off. But yeah, in December I'm gonna be doing some. Uh, that's fat. Yes, it is. Um, in December, I thought about doing some videos on like Christmas memories, things that I got for Christmas growing up. Possibly, I have a lot of items in my collection that I received for Christmas, and I recently acquired some vintage uh, Christmas catalogs from like J.C. Penney, Toys R Us, things like that, and I thought about showing them on camera. I thought that would be kind of cool. So, what is everybody's thoughts about the rebranding of Toys R Us? Jeffrey's Toy Box. Jeffrey's Toy Box, from my understanding, I don't know if this is real, but it's supposed to be these little pop up displays. Trash. Yeah, supposedly it's supposed to be these pop up displays in Kroger stores. Rebranding my ass. What in the hell? This is like, I don't know if you guys ever seen one of those Toys R Us Express stores that would pop up at shopping malls. Basically, they took all the stuff that either they had an overstock of or things they couldn't sell, and they opened up like a little pop-up thing in an empty store or an empty space in a mall during Christmas time. And like I said, the majority of the time it was never anything new. It was mostly just overstock stuff they wanted out of the store. And then like right a couple weeks before, a week or so before Christmas, they just clearance the hell out of it. So I'm not real happy about this. Uh, you know, Toys R Us will always be huge memories for me. It's gone. This rebranding of Jeffrey's Toy Box is an absolute insult to the memory and history of the once great company Toys R Us. Charles Lazarus, the original owner of Toys R Us, would be rolling in his grave right now, going, "What the hell are you guys doing to my legacy?" I mean, granted, it wasn't his fault that the company tanked anyway, because it was a number of things, and we've all talked about it. Growing up, we had stores like Hills Department Store, we had Kmart, Target. I mean, they're still Targets, but um, I don't know if you. I don't know if it's just a Midwest thing, but we have a couple stores. One's called Farm and Fleet. It's kind of like a farm store, but it's also got a bunch of other different stuff in it too. And they've always been famous for their Toyland. Once a year during like late October to December, they have a big area in their store where they stock it up with all different types of toys. Hills was always very famous for their toys too, you know, because their slogan was, you know, Hills is where the toys are. So now you have Walmart, their toy section is abysmal. Meyer, same thing. Target, it's a little bit better. But anymore, you know, to get decent anything, you have to go online. Amazon, eBay, you know, a lot of Facebook uh, marketplace things. And, you know, now with so many kids, you know, having tablets and cell phones and things like that, it's, you know, I mean, granted, kids still play with toys, but as opposed to years ago, you see like a 4 or 5 year old now with a tablet or their parent's phone. Before they were playing with action figures and you know other toy trucks and stuff. And I'm not saying that's gone away, but the technology age. We had technology growing up. We didn't have a lot of it. I mean, we had TV, we had Game Boy video game systems, we had AOL dial-up internet, which took forever. If you know remember that. Um, but technology was secondary. We still played with action figures. We still played with trucks and army men, super soakers, Nerf guns. You know, we still played baseball in the yard, things like that. Basketball in the driveway. We had really good TV shows on Nickelodeon. 90's Nickelodeon was so awesome. Shows like Salute Your Shorts, Doug, Adventures of Pete and Pete, um, Real Monsters, Hey Arnold. Now it's like all these shows are all these teen comedies, and it's like, what the hell? I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that I'm so freaking old. I mean, I'm 33 years old. I'll be 34 this upcoming year. And I just miss the good old days. I miss the days of coming home after school, getting some fruit snacks, and, you know, Crystal Pepsi or, you know, an Ecto Cooler, chilling out by the TV, watching some, you know, good old 90's Nickelodeon. And now it's like, I can't even watch anything on that network. Cartoon Network went to crap too. There was a lot of good cartoons on there. I don't know how many kids still watch things like Looney Tunes, Hanna Barbera, you know, the Flintstones, and you know things like that. Now, cartoons are awful nowadays. There are some good ones. Uh, I wouldn't say it's a kid cartoon, but Rick and Morty is hilarious. I've watched quite a bit of it, and it's pretty damn good. Um, I don't remember. Oh, do you remember the Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Um, that was a good cartoon. I mean, obviously it wasn't made for kids because it was on Adult Swim, but a lot of the cartoons that we watched growing up, I look back on it. There was quite a few adult jokes that I didn't get back then that I get now. If I had a time machine, you know, most people say, you know, if I had a time machine, I'd go back and make myself rich and, you know, fix mistakes in my life. If I had a time machine, I would love to just hang out, you know, with myself as, you know, a young kid in the late 80s up into the mid 90s and just relive it all over again. It was so much fun. The music was great. Nice figures. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's taken a long time. It's like 20 years worth of collecting. Do you have Hulk Hogan? Oh, yeah, I have tons of Hulk Hogan figures. Ranging from the earlier 80s LJN, the 90s Hasbro. Alright, let me see. Let me show you. You can kind of see it up there in the corner. Got a bunch of Hogans up on that shelf there. But, here we go. You can see it up there. Yeah, I've been collecting for a long time. There's some of my men on card stuff. Some more shots. Rey Mysterio. Yeah, I got some of the Rey Mysterio, the Brawling Buddies. I got a bunch of Mysterio figures mixed up in there. I've got a ton. Mysterio is a really cool figure to collect because he had so many different outfits and masks and stuff, so they were able to do many versions of his figures. No, not really, honestly. A lot of it was bought in thrift stores, antique stores, eBay lots. A lot of this is from when I was growing up. So no, I haven't really spent a lot of money on any of it. A lot of times I'll buy big lots of them, and I'll keep what I need, and then I'll sell off the rest to recoup expenses, and then it's kind of like a cycle after that. You know, I buy another big lot of them on Facebook Marketplace maybe. I need, you know, like let's say there's 100 of them. I need 20 of them. I'll keep those 20, sell the rest, recoup my expenses. Um, I do buy a lot of them still at retail, but the good thing is, no, I actually have this room here and the room next to it, and then part of my living room is wrestling. But I also have a collection of like mid 80s and 90s toys too. He-Man, the Masters Universe, Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, um, practically anything you could think. Micro Machines, Hot Wheels. Those are. Thank you. Um, the toy collecting community has gotten even stronger over the years. It's become more socially acceptable, so it's easier to connect with people, especially on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, things like that. Um, I mean, granted, there are still a lot. There's a lot of huge stigma on collecting. I have a Lego collection. I do, but I don't have it like out. I have probably 4 or 5 huge bins of original 80s and 90s Legos. Um, I haven't really messed with them too much in the last couple of years. I used to build a bunch of things. I did not have the Lego Star Wars, anything like that. I just had the original Lego sets, like the space one, um, police station, fire stations, the houses, things like that. We didn't have, like, Lego didn't really have the licensing back then for all the things they do now. Where practically everything, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, princesses, you name it. Have a good day. Do you have a Commodore 64 or Amiga? No, I don't. The oldest system I have. Oh, and have a good day, man. The oldest system I have is a Atari 2600. Um, I do not. I haven't really messed with an Amiga or Commodore 64. I appreciate the vintage computers. Yes, I do. I have my original NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis. I'm acquiring a Dreamcast and a Saturn. I also have the newer systems: PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Wii, Wii U, 64, original PlayStation, Xbox, things like that. I probably have like 15 or 16 systems. Eventually, I would like to get into Commodore and Amiga. Uh, the computers that I actually grew up using in school was the Apple IIe's, and we also had coming to PlayStation Classic. See, I don't know if I'm going to get a PlayStation Classic or not. Honestly, all the games on that system that have been, on the list, I already have most of them. So it's like none of the games on the system are like super expensive either, as opposed to like the NES and the SNES Classic. They had games on it like the Mega Man. Then you had like Earthbound, Donkey Kong Country. A lot of these games, well, of course, on the SNES Classic, you had the unreleased version of Star Fox 2. Um, Mario Kart, $25-$30 game. But like I said, I think for a novelty, it's kind of a cool idea. I like the idea of people who normally don't collect could get this, plug it in, relive those memories, show their kids these memories, things like that. It's kind of a cool thing. Will I get one? I don't really know. Um, I probably will get a 64 mini. I probably will get one of those. Just because a lot of the games that I would expect to be on it can be pricey, and I don't really want to fork out the cash for some of them. I would love to see uh, Conker's Bad Fur Day on there because that's like a $70 game. I'd love to see like Ocarina of Time, maybe even like Majora's Mask. Of course, they'll probably have Mario 64, Mario Kart. Um, I would love to see like I mean, there's a lot of games that came out for that system that I would love to see on there, but we'll just have to see when they release the game list how many people are watching. Four, cool. Um, I appreciate everybody that likes the video, watches the video, leaves a comment. Feel free to leave comments down below if you have any suggestions for some videos you'd like for me to do. Um, you know, this is the first one I've done in a while of a live video, but it was the way it was, and we liked it. Yeah. Um, the 64, I didn't have one. I got one probably about a couple years ago, used, and I appreciate it now. Um, with everything that came out in the system, I mean, granted, every system has what I would refer to as, shovelware. A lot of sports games, things like that. But GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. Um, there's so many games on that damn system that were just freaking fantastic. Have I played them all? No. Um, I would love to have the WCW wrestling games on that system. I do have them, but I would like to have them with the box. I'd love to have them in the box. And unfortunately, because of the cardboard boxes, people throw them away. They got damaged, things like that. So the majority of the time, anytime you find a 64 box, it's usually a sports title. Very rarely do you ever see one in good condition of a halfway decent game, and if it is, you're going to pay out the ass for it. A local game store near me, I don't remember how long afterwards, but they had this damn copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day for like ever. And, I understand the going rate. I get it. But if you're higher or equal to eBay, you're obviously not going to sell it. I mean, shit, that's the whole reason why we come into your store is not to get ripped off. But, you go in a lot of these retro game stores, Disc Replay, ones near you even, Game Exchange, whatever. You go into these places and a copy of like Mega Man 5 is like $45. A copy of Mario Kart's like 35 or 40. It's like shit. I can pull up a sold listing right now on eBay. These games are not rare. They're it's not like I'm looking for a copy of like uh, stadium events or like a rare prototype or yeah Nintendo World Championship or something. It's a copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day. The going rate is about 50 to $60, and they jack it up to almost 100. It's like, okay, keep it then. I don't care. And sometimes um, it cracks me up because they people like that, especially these people that run these stores, they're always complaining about, oh, business is slow and people aren't buying what they used to. Well, when I can go online, pay less, not have to deal with your rude bullshit, I'd rather go the other option. You know, I shouldn't see a copy of Madden 1995 on the Sega Genesis for $8. It's a Madden game for $8. I'm like, what? I mean, granted, I go to Disc Replay and they have some pretty good, decent deals. But unless it's like a rare game, a copy of anything PlayStation that's not rare shouldn't be more than like $3 or $4. Like I picked up a copy of Final Fantasy VII, and granted, it's not a rare game, but it's a sought after title. I paid $5 for it, you know. And then you go and you see a copy of like Mario and Duck Hunt, the game that came out and was packed in with the system. They want $14 for it. It's the most. It's like a coaster at this point. There's so many of them. Um, Genesis games, there are some expensive ones, but the majority of them, $5-6 a piece. There was a game on the Super Nintendo I used to play a lot. This thing goes for like 50 or 60. Sunset Riders. The best way I can compare it to is like Contra, but in the Old West. That type of gameplay. These stores are becoming their own. Yeah. Yep. And they wonder why a lot of these places are just going down the toilet. You know, that, and if you really look, and I've seen it, they're dedicating more of their store space to Funko Pops, Magic the Gathering, anything new. Anything new that they can make a quick buck on. But honestly, I am expecting the Funko bubble to pop very soon. I mean, you see these damn things everywhere. And instead of getting like new stock in, you look over and they have bins and bins of PlayStation 2 games, bins and bins of Xbox games, and they can't clear it out. Because who wants to pay $8 to $10 for a copy of Enter the Matrix on the PlayStation 2? When I pick these games up at thrift stores, $1, $2.50, you know? And like I said, unless it's like a really rare game, no game should be in that price range. It's ridiculous. Sometimes it's almost like you walk in there and the whole store stinks because the prices, they smell like shit. You know, it's literally, you almost want to leave the store as soon as you walk in there because you're going in there and you're like, oh, I'm gonna find a really cool game, maybe some vintage toys, and you're in a good mood. And then you look around, they have the same Wampa from Star Wars that is starting to yellow in the box. They have three of the $6 million man, Andre the Giant, Bigfoot, in the case for like $100. Three of them. If you want to sell it for $100, throw it on eBay. It just boggles my mind. I mean, I understand you have to pay for rent, you have to pay for lights, you have to pay for employees. I get that. But when you literally have two people working in the whole damn store and you have all this inventory, yeah, pretty much. You go into places now, and there's literally nothing. The wrestling section is literally like this big. Uh, Anymore, with things like Minions, Frozen, you see those like really really bad, newly revised Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The things are abysmal. They look like absolute dog shit. And the biggest thing, and they don't realize this, parents will buy their kids toys. Saturday morning cartoons produce toys nobody cares about kids these days. Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, when we would see a toy on a commercial, whether it be something from a cartoon, something from a TV show, something like that, we'd be like, oh my gosh, new adventures of, the animated Batman series figures. I'm like, holy shit, I gotta go get these things. And they were awesome. And now it's like everything is literally targeted towards one demographic. If they actually came out with, I respect your craft, fellow American. Thank you, Donald Trump. Um, it's one of those things where anymore the marketplace for anything retro or vintage, they keep coming out with these recycled ideas where, like, we had trolls. These things are not what we had. Uh, we were making slime back in the day before these kids ever did this stuff. Slap bracelets, we had those. Pogs. I loved Pogs. I never played Magic the Gathering. I played Pogs at school. We got in trouble. I used to bring in my wrestling magazines and got in trouble for that. It was like I didn't get in trouble by everybody. It was one particular teacher that basically said that wrestling was the devil, that professional wrestling was sacrilegious and inappropriate for anybody to entertain themselves with. But yeah, damn, I've been on here for almost 40 minutes. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get off here and fix myself some damn lunch. I'm hungry. Dr. Nick needs to eat. But thank you for everybody for watching. Yeah, it's the truth. You had X-Men toys. You had Batman toys. I mean, you had all these really cool, like, I had Street Sharks, and I had the Mask toys. Any more, like, all these different, like, I look back and Batman the Animated Series was a freaking awesome cartoon series. The Uncanny X-Men. You had all these just really awesome shows. The Animaniacs was good. You know, with like Pinky and the Brain. Um, it just what was it? The Tiny Toons, the Adventures of the Amazing Spider-Man. Uh, when I don't know if anybody remembers these, but it was a cartoon known as Cowboys and Moo Mesa. They were actual cowboys that were cows. We had a show called Reboot. Um, Obviously, a lot of the cartoons when I don't know what a lot of these networks were thinking anymore. It's poorly designed anime cartoons, poorly written teen comedy type bullshit, and the animated cartoons that they have now are so annoying. You almost don't even want your kids to watch them. I heard that song recently, the Baby Shark song. I wanted to blow my brains out. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? And I think a lot of these cartoons, they're not all bad. But good God. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching. Check out my other videos. Give a like. Subscribe if you like what you see. And I will see you all later. Shit. Well, actually, I think I'm going to stay on a little bit longer. The crazy thing about, like, YouTube itself is with everything that, with the whole vintage community, I think it's more of, like, we had the Fox TV, we had Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. They had a lot of really... Dexter's Laboratory was a good one. Two Stupid Dogs, Johnny Bravo. Trying to think of some other ones on there. I don't know. There was a lot of really good cartoons. A lot of really good, like, animated stuff. Now it's just crap. So, it's one of those things, as we get older, we realize that things are shit now. Now we go to work, pay bills, and, live our daily lives. So, what do? You, just kind of go with it, roll with it, and, wish for better times, I guess. Or, you just, kind of remember the good times, and, just kind of get into things or shit for my kids. You're right about these. Awful enough. Oh my God. Yeah, the awful Netflix and YouTube stuff. It's, you watch, I've seen some of these things. Like, my brother's kids, they had, like, these retarded, I'm sorry, I don't want to use that word, but these ridiculous shows. Backyardigans, Wonder Pets, Paw Patrol. This stuff is just awful. We showed my brother's kids, like, Blue's Clues, Bear in the Big Blue House, things like that, and it's almost as if, like, anymore, a lot of these companies, they just anymore they just pump the stuff out. They think that they can literally just use anything, and they do. They find something cheap, something that is fast and easy to put together, and they just do it, and it's recycled crap is what it is. It's the same recycled crap. And I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go eat. Thanks again, everybody, and I'll see y'all later.